What's up, pet people? My name is Lexa and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be doing a 5 basic things you need to know before adopting or purchasing a pet into your household. We're going to be covering things you need to do like way in advance, and then things you need to do a couple days in advance before bringing home your new little friend. So let's get into the video. So the first step that I feel everyone needs to do before getting a new pet is researching the pet that you want. And that means knowing way in advance what you're going to get and the type of care it will need. I do this with all of my pets. None of the pets I've gotten are compulse buys, meaning I don't just walk into a store and go, oh my god, I want that, buy it, not be prepared for it at all, bring it home, not know anything about it. That's not how I work. That's not how I feel society should work whenever it comes to animals. So I'm going to show you guys an example of a little pamphlet I put together. About 2 years before I got my crested gecko, I tried convincing my parents, hey, I want a crested gecko. At the time, they didn't buy me one, so after I started my job, got some money, did what I need to do to get a gecko and feel confident in owning a pet of that type, I finally purchased my gecko. But again, I had done research way in advance, and whenever I do research on pets, I do a pretty thorough job, as you're about to see. So this is just a little overview. I do this for every single pet I want. I also have one over my red claw crab that I had. I have one over the box turtles. Have one over my hognose. I have a little pamphlet I made over future pets I want, such as my Mexican black king snake. I have a pamphlet over budgies. I have a new pamphlet that I recently made over panther chameleons. Just if I want the pet, I do my research and I stick them all in a little binder. I don't know where my binder is right now. Probably should have gotten that out for this video, but I didn't think that far ahead. Anyway, I make a little pamphlet for every animal that I want, and I stick it in the binder. If it's not in the binder, at least 6 months prior to me wanting that animal, I'm not going to get it because I know it's just a compulsive, oh, I want this, but I don't really know how to care for it. So, as I was saying, everyone needs to do their research over the pet they want. Again, this is a good example. You need to know the housing, you need to know the substrate, humidity, temperature, food required, health issues they can have, signs of those health issues, the type of housing they need, just everything you need to know about that pet, you need to research at least 6 months prior to getting that pet, maybe more. And not a lot of people do this. So the second thing I feel like everyone needs to do is research your breeder. Research the shelter, research wherever it is that you're getting your pet from. A lot of people will do the new trend of ordering their pet online, which is fine, that's fine. If it's a reputable breeder, I support that. But a lot of times nowadays, it's not a reputable breeder. And you can just find pets anywhere. Like, a lot of people I know go on Craigslist to look for a pet. Please don't do that. The chance of your pet being sick or arriving not alive are very high. And that's one thing that you need to be sure of whenever you purchase a pet through an online website. You need to check their alive on arrival percentage. Meaning you need to be sure that whenever your pet arrives, it's going to actually be alive. You also need to research shelters. If you're adopting from like a humane society or a local shelter, you need to be sure that they don't have any infestations lately. I know I saw this thing on Facebook a while back of a parvo infestation in a shelter locally, and they had to kill all of the dogs in the shelter because they contracted parvo or they could spread parvo, and they did not want to do that to, you know, whatever household they were bringing that pet into. It was an extremely sad scenario, but that's why you need to do your research, because you don't want to go adopt a pet from somewhere that has parvo or fleas or other infestation problems. As far as local pet stores, meaning chain pet stores, highly recommend not getting your pet from a chain pet store. You don't know if it was wild caught, you don't know where it came from, you don't know if it was mass bred, you don't know what it's been being fed, you do not really know about that pet. I know it's easily accessible, I know that it's right there, but that doesn't always mean it's the best for you. If you feel confident enough and know the people at that pet store and they say it's okay, I guess that's fine, but I would definitely recommend not ever purchasing from a chain pet store. Doing the cat adoptions out of like Petco and PetSmart is fine because generally they do it through a local adoption center, but purchasing a crested gecko from Petco or PetSmart, I would not recommend. They could have parasites, don't know where it came from, not a good idea. That's just my personal opinion. So tip number 3 that I have is really, really simple to remember, and I feel like should be a common sense thing. Unfortunately, again, it does not happen very often, and that is to purchase everything you need for your pet in advance. Meaning, if you know you are bringing a new pet into your home, have everything ready in advance. Another example of this comes from my crested gecko care guide I made. Whenever I was wanting my gecko and wanting my parents to get me my gecko, I included a materials pricing list so you can clearly see how much everything was. They clearly knew what it was, how much it would be, all the way down to my tank supplies, heaters, different bulbs, spray bottles, water conditioners, different food types, substrate types. I had everything. And I feel like everyone needs to be this prepared for a pet. Whenever I got my crested gecko, I actually bought the tank 4 months in advance because I was wanting to do a bioactive setup. So I knew I would need time for the tank to actually cycle through, meaning the plants not immediately die on me, and I need to make sure it would be okay on its own. So I bought the tank about 4 months in advance, and I set it up 2 months prior to getting my gecko. Here are some pictures of my setup. As you can see, I was putting it together, making sure that I had my humidity right, making sure that the plants were doing okay, and I left this here from... I started this setup end of November, finished the setup first week of December, left it for a month, and then got my crested gecko the first week of January. Second week of January. As you can see, the tank was doing great on its own. I wanted to make sure that everything was fine, the plants were doing good on their own, being live, that I could maintain a proper humidity, that my room was the proper temperature to maintain that temperature that they needed. Everything I had done was in advance, and that goes into number 4. So number 3 is purchase everything you need for that pet that you want in advance. Number 4 is set up everything you need for that pet in advance, meaning if it's a gecko, set up your tank in advance. If it's a snake, set up the tank in advance. If it's a chameleon, tank in advance. If it's a cat, buy the litter, set up the litter box, make sure you have everything you need in advance. Same goes for birds and dogs and turtles and every single pet that you could possibly want. You need to be prepared for in advance. Do not compulse buy. Do not walk into a store, buy something, and not know how to take care of it. That's what I'm going to say about that. So the final thing that I feel you need to do, the 5th thing, is just a day before routine check. So you have everything set up, you did your research on the pet, you did your research on the breeder, store, whatever, you bought everything you needed, you set up everything you needed, and then now it's time for the day before. You need to do a final check. I'm going to say this one last time. You need to do a final check, meaning you think you had everything ready, make sure you have everything ready, double, triple, quadruple check you have everything ready. This means have your food ready. If you did not have your food prior to this day, go get your food. If you did not have water bowls prior to this day, go get your water bowls. What I do the day before I bring home a pet is I'll actually set up the water bowl and everything. I'll like fill it with water, make sure it gets room temperature. I'll like, if it has to be pre-made, I pre-mixed my gecko food, I pre-mixed my turtle food before I got him. Just make sure you're ready for him. Go through your house, make sure you have no hazardous things out. Make sure that if you're getting like a dog or something, you have all your potty pads. If you're getting ready to train a puppy, make sure you have checked your fence, there's no holes or anything it can get out of. Just do that fifth, final check before bringing home your new pet. So, sorry, I'm checking my list of making sure. Sorry. So, that's my 5 steps, and now you're ready to bring your little friend home. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please put them down in the comment box below. And thank you for watching. Alright, bye.